So IELTS Writing Task 1, academic students get a visual input based on which they have to write a report. Now here report means a summary of that information provided to the students. So how do you get that information? Few things are given, some data is given to you, and you need to summarize that. So what are the things that you should be careful about? How you can get a higher band score 8 or 9. We are going to discuss that today. So writing task 1, academic, as I just shared with you all, summary writing, visual input. You get a visual input and the summary writing is based on that. How much time should you take? Nobody decides the time, but yes, you're advised to take that much time. You're advised to take 20 minutes for task 1. Why? Because task 2 is worth double the score of what you get for task 1. So that's why you should take 20 minutes for task 1, not more than that. And you should write at least 150 words. So at least 150 words means if you write less than 150, that's around 145 or 146, you are penalized. So don't write less than 150 words, but yes, at the same time, do not exceed it too much. So somewhere between 170 and 190 words is a good length of your writing task 1. Try not to go beyond 200 words. So that would be a good one. You'll be able to write and review within 20 minutes. Writing task 2 is the same for academic and general training students, and that is essay writing. And today we are discussing this writing task 1 for academic students. So as I just shared with you all that you do is summarize the information, present it to you in the form of a pie chart, a bar chart, a line graph, a table, or it can be a process. Any diagram can be given to you, a diagram of any process. Can be something as simple as a hydrological cycle. So it can be something very simple. And in this task, you are just required to summarize that information. So what do you do in this? You report the main features. Then whatever data is given to you, you describe and compare that. If a process is there, you describe that process. And in case it's a line graph, then line graph will have some information about the past, something about future also, something related to the trends. So you should be able to identify the trends that are there. So you report the main features, you describe and compare data, you describe a process, and you identify trends in factual information. Please remember this. This is what you're required to do. You summarize. So if you summarize the given, whatever information is given, if you summarize the given information, you do not add your own points. I'm repeating this, I'm reiterating this, just to remind you of this thumb rule. Remember it. You do not add your own point. You do not come to a conclusion. You do not recommend anything over here. You just summarize the information that is provided to you. So what should be the structure of your writing task 1? Obviously, you should write everything in different paragraphs, but then how do you divide that information in different paragraphs? Paragraph 1, you just paraphrase the question. Question usually says the given chart or the given graph, or the graph gives information about this. That way something is given to you. You paraphrase, you say the same thing in different words. And you should also include the values mentioned over there, something in millimeters, centimeters, percentage, millions, dollars, pounds, whatever is mentioned over there. You should mention the values also. And if time frame is there, from which year to which year should be mentioned. Like as you all must be familiar with these two terms, that is x-axis and y-axis, you should consider what all is there. Don't mention these words x-axis and y-axis, but yes, whatever information is given there, you should include that too. So use a paraphrase. For instance, if the word is gives or presents, you can use a different word. You use the word illustrates, the graph illustrates. Now, what should you include in paragraph 2? Now, when we look at something, any picture, any visual input that we see, some features strike us immediately. We say, oh, look at that. So when you look at those features and you get this feeling, look at that, look at the difference. Those are those key features. Make a note of them. And then there are some other minor, oh, this is also there, that is also there. So the features for which you get this feeling, those are those additional ones, the minor ones. So we have the major features and the minor features. So in second paragraph, you should give an overall picture of the major features, the striking ones, the most striking things that you see over there. But when you give your overview paragraph, this is the overview paragraph, do not include the values. Suppose you have to talk about the maximum rainfall received in a year at a particular place or the minimum rainfall received, you should not mention how much rainfall is received. All that should not be given in overview paragraph. We just practice one. Paragraph 3, you should give the details of these striking features. Whatever striking features you've mentioned in paragraph 2, in the overview paragraph, give details of those striking features in paragraph 3. Now then there are others also. Okay, this is also there, that is also there. Include those in paragraph 4. So mostly you have 4 paragraphs in your writing task 1. But yes, if the information is too much, you can have another paragraph. So then only you may add this paragraph 5, not otherwise. Usually it is just in 4 paragraphs, you're able to sum up, like you're able to summarize everything. I just use the word sum up. So we do not sum up anything. We just summarize it. To sum up is conclude. Now, that's one major mistake which many students make. The way they write their essays, similarly, they try to do it over here also, that at the end, they try to write a paragraph to summarize everything. To conclude, to summarize, yes, some students may write an overview paragraph at the beginning and some may write at the end and summarize, like they do it that way. But if you start concluding everything, to conclude, if you start coming to a conclusion, then that is wrong. So this paragraph 2, many of you might have learned to write it at the end also, this overview paragraph. But what I would recommend is to write it over here. So the overview comes here, not at the end. It's always better. You have that picture, the general picture, and then accordingly you write your paragraph 3 and paragraph 4. It's easier. It's structured better. So let's practice one. So pie chart. Sometimes you may get 2 pie charts also. Let's look at this pie chart. What do we have over here? Browser market share. And is there a time frame? Yes, we have January 2018. That means in this answer, we should be careful about the tense. It has to be past tense. It's only in first paragraph. Please remember, it's only in first paragraph that you use the present tense. After that, you should use the tense according to the time mentioned in the visual input. If no time frame is there, then you write everything in present. Otherwise, past or future tense, you'll have to decide according to the time mentioned there. Okay, I think there's a question. Okay, the question is how you write different overview for different graphs. Yes, I'll just share that with you. I'll explain a few things and then understand how you write different overview for different graphs. Basic strategy remains the same. You look at the key features, the main features, the most striking ones, and you mention those in the overview paragraph. For example, if you look at this now, what all do we see? We have different browsers over here. Chrome is there, mentioned here. Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, and others. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them have been mentioned over here. Now, the moment we look at it, you get that feeling, oh, look at Chrome, how much share it had in the market. And then at the same time, you see, okay, which one had the least? You look at that too. You look at Firefox, you look at Internet Explorer, Safari, others, and you feel, oh, Safari is the least then. If you compare, look at the share of Safari in the market, look at the share of Chrome. So these things strike you. Now, certain things have been mentioned over here in percentage, the way you have this 53.02 percentage, 1.4% over here. So the percentage should not be mentioned in the overview paragraph. So how do we do it? Let's look at this and understand a few things about it. So different paragraphs. So the question, what is the question? The pie chart presents the browser market share in January 2018. This is the way we get the question. Prepare a report by summarizing the given information. So here it says pie chart presents. We change the word illustrates. It illustrates. Now, what does it illustrate? We see so much of differences there. So we can paraphrase this. The question, what does it illustrate? Browser market shares, obviously, all did not get the same share. There was some disparity, some difference was there. So the disparity in market share of various internet browsers. So different browsers are there. So various internet browsers. If there are up to 7 names, we should mention them. If there are too many, then you need not mention the minor ones. So internet browsers in January 2018. Now, which are the browsers that have been considered? We mentioned those. So the browsers considered are Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox, and others. And their market share is depicted in percentage. So we mentioned that. And the source, you see over here? And the source of information is statcounter.com. Only this much in the first paragraph, nothing else. So all questions that you get, whether the visual input gives you data about future, about past, present, whatever it may be, this first paragraph will have present tense. Please remember this. This has only present tense. Present tense, you look at the verbs. These verbs decide is depicted. Now, this is also in present tense. It's a passive voice. So ensure that you have everything in present tense and you paraphrase whatever is given to you, that question. Now, next comes the overview paragraph. That's the question that you asked me. Let me read your question once again. Ritika, you've asked me a question. Can you write different overview for different graphs? So overview, you can start like this. It is apparent, like from whatever the chart is, that overall or on the whole. You can start with that also, on the whole, or it is evident that. You can start that way also. Different ways of beginning. So these are some good ones, common ones. So that overall, now, suppose my word limit, it goes beyond 200. I can easily reduce the number of words. What will I do then? It is apparent from the pie chart that I can remove these words. I can do without them also, overall, and I can start the paragraph with that. Now here, be careful, the tense. So this is all about past. If you notice, it's Chrome and it's Safari. The most striking ones, the others are also there. So overall, Chrome was the most preferred of all internet portals. This was the most preferred, no percentage to be given. So if you have any such values, millimeters, centimeters, pounds, dollars, millions, all those things mentioned, do not mention the values, whichever question it may be. Now, which is the least one? Safari. Whereas Safari was the least favored browser. And this gives us the overview paragraph. Some students try to write this at the end, but the benefit of writing over here is that you are more structured, you're more clear about it. You may not take that long to write this answer. So once we've written this, we know that in the next paragraph, we should include the details of this only. Now see the difference in the second and the third paragraph? What's the difference? Now here we have all the details. Chrome captured more than half of the market share in January 2018. That's how it is. More than half of the share. Because if you calculate 53, then 1.4, then here we have 2.16, here we have 1.3. So it is more than that. So Chrome captured more than half of the market share in January 2018, although the share of Chrome v62.0, so v62.0 is, where is it? It's here at the bottom. And Chrome v64.0, where do we have v64.0? Here, over here we have this. Now here it's 1.3 and that is 1.4. Was almost similar, we can use such words, at 1.4% and 1.3% respectively. And of Chrome v49.0. v49.0 is this one over here, was 2.16%, and you place a comma here. So you started the sentence with although. Now, this comma should not be there. Although the share of Chrome, this was this much, you place a comma here. So this, please remember, many students place a comma here. This comma is wrong. This is just to show that this is wrong. So although, you should not put a comma over here. So although the share of this was this, here we have a comma. Another common mistake that many students make is they use the word but over here. So when you start the sentence with although, you should not have but also here. No but, you just place a comma here. So although it was this, the other thing was this. Chrome v63.0. So this is v63.0, dominated the market with 53.02%. Exact information. Conversely, now on the other hand, right? On the contrary. So conversely, on the contrary, when I wrote this, it was exceeding 190 words. So this was a good way of reducing. Instead of putting on the contrary, 3 words, 1 word conversely. The Safari v11.0, this is what it is. Browser had just 3.39% users. So whatever striking features you have here in the overview paragraph, they are given here with proper details. All the values mentioned. Now, the others, all these, Firefox, Internet Explorer, others, these are those minor ones lagging behind. So the second highest number of users was for other browsers. You notice this, 7.62%, at 7.62%, followed by Firefox. So we have Firefox here with a market share of 7.36% for v57, because 2 of them are there. One is this and the other is this. For v57.0 and 1 point, like V is version, that's what it is. And 1.02% for version 58.0. That's how it is. Now the others are also there. So how do we mention those? In comparison, Internet Explorer version 11.0 seized. So use a different word now. Some places had, some places captured. Here we can use the word seized. Seized approximately. Now you may write the word approximately, but it is 6.2%. So now this word can also be left. When you have the exact information, there's no need to use approximately. So when do we use approximately? When we are somewhere close, we do not know how much it is. So graph, bar chart. When it is close to a particular percent or a number, and we are not sure whether it's exactly that much or not, then we use the word approximately. But here in a pie chart, when this information is given clearly to us, it's 6.2%. We should not use the word approximately then, right? So this goes wrong over here. So seized 6.2% of the market share, whereas only 2.6% chose to browse through Edge v16. Now, this is what it is. That's it. We don't have to write a conclusion for it. And this is around 190 words. So what do we do in writing task 1 of academic? First paragraph, we should just paraphrase the question that is given to us. include the values that have been mentioned. And if any source is there for that information, we mention the name of the source also. And we write the first paragraph in present tense. After the first paragraph, we should take care of the tense according to the time mentioned in the visual input. This can make a difference of 1 band score. So you should be very careful with the tense. If it is all about past, we use the past tenses. If it is something is about future, some prediction is there, accordingly, we use the future time reference or we use the future tenses. If no time frame is there, no time is mentioned, it seems as if it is always there like that or every year it is like that, then we use the present tenses. So after the first paragraph, be very careful with the tense that you use. So the second paragraph has the overview. In the overview, you just mention the key features, the main feature, the most striking things that you notice there. And you mention those things without the values. You don't mention the percentage or the other values that are mentioned there. Third paragraph, you give the details of these striking features with values. The way we've done over here, percentage, everything is mentioned here. Fourth paragraph, you mention the other features with their values. So you give the details here, you give the details here. This does not have the details. This does not have the details. Now, other things that we should be careful about while summarizing the information given in a pie chart. In a pie chart, you have information in percentage. So exact percentage is given to us. It's not that somewhere we feel, oh, is this line reaching or is this point reaching 20% or is it somewhere at 18 only? So it's not like line graph and bar graph. So what can go wrong in a pie chart is when we use words such as approximately. So there's nothing approximately over here. It's exactly whatever is mentioned here. Grammatically, one main area, like one I've already mentioned, and that is regarding the tenses. Second is the punctuation. If you talk about two things, that although it is like this, the other thing is like that, and you put this word although at the beginning, there should not be a comma after that. And when you finish one side and you talk about the other, then after the comma, but should not come. That will make it grammatically wrong. Show range of your grammar. Like range of grammar shown over here, when you use the word whereas, complex sentence. So use complex sentences, compound sentences, different sentences, right? And then here also, in comparison, use different linkers. In comparison, we've got this whereas we have here, right? Here also, although, conversely, use such words to connect your points. So linkers are needed, connectors are needed. Because how are you assessed for your writing task one? You get points for task achievement. So 25% you get if you summarize the information correctly, whatever has been asked. You're asked to summarize the information given there, so your data should be correct. You should not put wrong percentage, wrong information over there. Wrong value should not be mentioned. If you change that information, I gave you that example of approximately. So that was like changing the information given over there. So if you change information in any way, your points will be reduced over here.
For live online IELTS classes by expert instructors, log on to youknowlearning.com.